Hello and welcome. I am Exit Light and this is my channel. Today I'm going to be telling you about two women who are missing. These two women went missing in the same area in Florida last year. It's brought their families together. Now these families are not only searching for their own daughter, but searching for the daughter of a family that they never previously knew. They've been complete strangers. Their daughters have no relationship, but here these two families are stuck in a nightmare, asking where their children are. And I'm going to tell you about these two missing women. Veronica Reyes-Diaz is 23 years old. She was last seen in the early morning hours of Saturday, January 18th, 2020. Her father, Vindicio Minjares, told Dateline that Veronica had made plans to go out Friday night with her friend. Her husband stayed home with their 1-year-old son, and she took their two older sons, who are aged 4 and 5, to her sister's house in Plant City, Florida, which is about 15 minutes from her own home. She returned home and was picked up by a friend later that evening. At around 1:15 in the morning on Saturday, Veronica's friend dropped her off at her house, and then Veronica drove to her sister's house to pick up the boys before returning home. This is according to Veronica's father. Once the children were inside and put to bed, her father said that's when it appears that she left the house again, and she didn't return. And nobody seems to know why. Veronica's vehicle, a Chevy Yukon, was found parked outside of her home. Inside it were her car keys and a wallet with cash. Veronica's father said that her cell phone pinged in the area over the weekend, but by Monday, it had been turned off, and there were no messages or calls going through anymore. Her father said that they weren't really worried at first. He thought maybe she was staying with a friend, maybe she needed some space. It happens, but not for this long. And she would never have left her kids, never. They were everything to her. On Monday, Veronica's family filed a missing persons report, and they began searching for Veronica, yet there was no trace. The Assistant Chief Communications Officer, Amanda Granite, with the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, is quoted as saying that Veronica's case is now classified as a missing persons case, and anyone with information is encouraged to call authorities. However, it's still a case that's being actively investigated, but Reyes-Diaz is not considered endangered, and there were no signs of foul play at this time, but the family just doesn't believe that. Their gut is telling them that something happened. Somebody forced her to leave her home. Her children, too young to know, or maybe they were too sleepy to see. But her family is reaching out. They said, there's a big problem with sex trafficking in this area, and I'm just worried that someone grabbed her that night. Then, on February 6th, another woman went missing. She is 28-year-old Cayla Taylor. She left her boyfriend's home at around 4 p.m., and his home also happened to be located in Plant City, where Veronica had gone the night she went missing. Cayla's car was located that night. It was abandoned, but with its engine running on a nearby set of train tracks. Inside of her vehicle was her cell phone and her purse and other belongings, and she too has not turned up since. Her vehicle was a 2000 Toyota Solaris. The railroad tracks it was abandoned on were East Trapnell Road. The driver's side door was open. She even had her debit cards in there. There was just 1 mile difference between her on and off, again, boyfriend's home and the train tracks. Family and friends started scouring the area, handing out flyers, and nothing turned up. That is until 3 weeks later, when a strange event occurred. Cayla's shoes were found on a drainage pipe near the road where her car had been abandoned, just outside Plant City. They were neatly placed next to her missing persons flyer, but also where her family had carried out a recent vigil. Cayla's family believed the shoes were placed there deliberately, as they had previously searched the area and the shoes had not been there. Due to the COVID outbreak, the canvassing and the searches had to be called off. The police department didn't run a search on the tags to see who the car belonged to, and they actually left the car intact, sitting next to the railroad for 3 days. The police have also filed Cayla as a missing person, but they say they don't suspect any foul play. Her car was abandoned with all of her belongings, her phone, her money. Her shoes turn up at the site where there had been a vigil, and they think that there wasn't any foul play. That's very interesting to me. The police and the family admit that Veronica did have a habit of leaving for a couple days occasionally, and recently she'd been saying that being a mother was wearing her out. She was tired and she needed a break. So originally the family thought that maybe that's what happened. She needed a break, but the more they thought about it, they realized that she left on foot, without a vehicle, without money, without her phone, and that just didn't seem reasonable to them. Also, those children were not the biological children of her husband, and they had a court date set and coming up. He was going to adopt those children. The family was very excited. So, given that information, it just doesn't seem like somebody would up and abandon their children and the man who was going to adopt them. Cayla's boyfriend and a friend of his told the police that she had been behaving abnormally, that she had not been acting as she normally would, quote, and that they both thought that perhaps she was going through a, quote, mental crisis of some sort. This, however, is backed up by the fact that she did speak to a friend of hers on the phone, although it's not clear if it was before she left her boyfriend's house or after. And her friend said that she was strange, that her voice was off, and there was no reason given for it. And so she was a little concerned about her well-being. The families are still holding out hope. But as the time goes by, and it's been over a year, they're starting to feel less and less like they'll see these women, their daughters, sisters, mothers, alive again. The Sheriff's Department has started a podcast, and they're sharing all the information that they know about these two women. Now, granted, neither one of them is an angel, but that should have no bearing on this case. Both of them simply vanished. If you have any information, or you have possibly seen these two women, please contact the Sheriff's Department in Plant City, Florida, or any police department in that area. Let's see if maybe these women can be brought home. and that maybe they just did need a break. Thank you for coming to this channel. If you would, please give this video a thumbs up. If you're interested in true crime or missing people cases, a lot of people like to do some of their own investigative work into these cases, and it's been known to help the police out. If you know anybody that's interested in that, please go ahead and share this video with them. And if you are not subscribed and you'd like to be, please go ahead and do that. And click that bell so that you're notified when my content goes live. We also do paranormal activity on this channel, and I also have a podcast that I do with my friend Rob, where we cover a variety of topics, from just plain silly to spooky to informational, and I think there's something for everybody. Good night.